Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Geek View Podcast. Now, uh, hopefully, the first episode was pretty chill, and you're now gonna subscribe and listen, or just interested in listening. I have Matt with me here again,
What up?
and yeah, we're kind of just gonna get into talking about movies of 2018, movies that are gonna come out, what would make a lot of box office money, what's gonna do really good, just really cool things like that. So yeah, let's just get into it. I mean, what major movies have you seen so far this year?
This year, I think the only really big one I've seen, I've seen two, and we talked about them both last week.
That's true.
Black Panther and Annihilation. So I feel like we talked about those a lot, but I feel like what was it? And they were both very good movies in their own regard. Both had different targets, different audiences.
Yeah.
But, just in terms of movies I want to see, I'm actually looking forward to the Venom movie starring Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah. The Venom movie where they haven't shown Venom at all. Showed Venom at all.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling when I saw the trailer was labeled teaser, just showed some action shots of Tom Hardy's face. I mean, looking into it, I was looking at the director. Was it Ruben Fleischer, the guy who did Zombieland,
That was
30 minutes or less? And I have seen both those. He's also apparently directed Gangster Squad that I've not seen, but apparently is not that great according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Gangster Squad was a pretty bad movie. It got shit on a whole lot worse than it should have. It wasn't terrible, but it was a pretty bad movie.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see with that how he handles Venom, because I don't know if it's gonna be a similar story arc and intertwine with the Spider-Man, which I assume it will. But I thought Spider-Man: Homecoming was a very entertaining movie. It's one of the more lighthearted Spider-Mans, and Tom Holland actually looked like he could be in high school as opposed to what was his name?
Tobey Maguire
who looked like he was freaking 25 years old, in high school. So, and I just think Spider-Man's more of a lighthearted character than what he's portrayed in the previous iterations.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how this goes because I know Zombieland and 30 Minutes or Less are both kind of comedic movies, and apparently, as you say, Gangster Squad is not good at all. So I'm curious how the director handles this, and if there'll be a lot of studio interference possibly, or what the plan is with this, because I feel like Venom is not really I don't know the comics super well, but I don't think he's really a comedic type of character, I mean, what's your input on that?
I'm pretty excited for Venom as well. It's a long ways down the road. I think it's coming out in October, but Venom's the kind of person who Venom's the kind of character who in the movies has never really been portrayed properly, because they kind of gave it a try in Spider-Man 3, and that wasn't even really Venom. That was just what was his name, Eric from That 70s Show, just trying to play a evil Eric in a way. That's what it kind of felt like. It's also great, it's kind of interesting to know which way they're kind of going to go with it. From the trailer, it looks like they're going to go with Venom the anti-hero as opposed to Venom the villain.
Yeah.
He's kind of portrayed in both kind of styles across the years that he's been in comics. So I'm really interested about whether they're going to start him off as someone that you can, kind of go down that Breaking Bad route where he comes from a place of wanting to do some good or something like that, or wanting to avenge something, and you can kind of be on his side. But as the movie progresses, he becomes more and more of a villain and less of an anti-hero. That would be an interesting way to make your protagonist actually be a terrible person by the end of it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of movies people like to see that. I think of Scarface, or trying to think of something else.
Movies where no, I kind of get what you're talking about. Movies where by the end of the movie, the protagonist kind of becomes the bad character in itself, or I'm kind of blanking on names of movies that have done that, but I definitely understand. Oh, and No Country for Old Men, that's one.
Yeah, the guy finds the money. Yeah, that's like another one, but not as extreme, I think.
Yeah, No Country
But
for Old Men is definitely a lot darker than I would. I mean, I wouldn't be like, I would actually be very surprised if they actually went that dark with the Venom movie. But I
yeah, because
wouldn't be.
yeah, because the way they made it seem in the trailer, it looks a little darker. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to that. And I think your idea would be really cool if they did something like that. Because I mean, I know he plays the anti-hero slash villain, but we don't really
mhm,
have a lot of feature villain movies. And I find them
exactly.
very compelling. Like they're obviously not like the biggest part of the story, but there's so much history in like the comics that'd be
Yeah, yeah,
interesting. Because some of these like heroes are very like I think of Batman, like he's a cool hero, but it's kind of like, oh, my parents died, so I'm gonna take revenge and like fight for the
exactly.
city, and that's like his thing. And he's rich and white, like that's his thing. But then like thing like the Joker, like like Mr. Freeze or those other like quirky characters, like these like criminally
Exactly.
insane people. It's always interesting to see these
Like
characters, and they're killed off so quickly in the comics and the movies. I mean, the movies that it's kind of like disappointing because you want to see more of them.
like one of my favorite episodes from Batman the Animated Series is like it's not even an episode. It's like the episode arc with Mr. Freeze being, kind of like the villain of Mr. Freeze being introduced, and like then they bring in like Nora Freeze and all of these things. Like it's the villains of Batman that make it compelling, and like I would love to see like they've tried these movies, but like we haven't actually seen like a full fledged like dark villain movie, and I would love to see that. Like, I would love it if they kind of made me feel what I felt in Breaking Bad, towards the end of the show, where you kind of like you start off by completely supporting Walter White, and you kind of just like this is just a guy who's been screwed over by life, and he's trying to like leave stuff behind. But by the end of it, you're still kind of supporting him. But he's a like if you look at it from an objective point of view, you're supporting like basically like a guy who's kind of been a serial killer in a way, like because he has committed more than 3 murders over the show and things like that. So you're supporting a guy who is essentially a terrible human being, but because of the kind of character development that you've seen over the show, it's just extremely interesting. And like if they went that route with Venom, I think that would eventually make it like one of my favorite superhero movies of the year because there's a lot coming out. But if they actually took that risk, I would be very happy if they did that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it takes some sort of careful execution, but that would be a very refreshing change for superhero movies. Like we saw them take risks, Logan, like a different style, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it really did pay off. I mean, I don't know commercially how if it was super successable, but I know like
Oh,
Wolverine as a
Logan
brand
made
is pretty big.
Logan made a decent amount of money. Like I know that because yeah, I think it made hundreds of millions of dollars. Like I don't know if it cracked the billion mark, but it definitely made like over $500 million. And it wasn't like that high budget of a movie. Like it wasn't the size of like X Men Apocalypse or anything like that.
Yeah, it was
So
certainly better in X-Men Apocalypse.
yes, yeah, no, that's definitely true. I mean, like I did enjoy parts of X Men Apocalypse, but I do see it's not as bad as like I wouldn't say X Men Apocalypse is as bad as like X Men 3 or X Men Origins Wolverine. Like
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
X Men Origins Wolverine is just like a terrible fucking movie.
I don't know, I always come in like it's always on FX and I always like the end of it. I'm like, this seems kind of intriguing. Like I wonder why it was so bad, but like I mean, I imagine it was pretty bad if I watched the whole way through.
Like there's some really cool scenes, and I like how they kind of there's definitely some cool scenes, and since it's like early Logan, like it's like when he's still got like his kind of bone claws, or like the opening scene of the movie where they kind of show him fighting throughout the wars with Sabretooth and things like that. That was kind of cool, but then like
Yeah.
some parts of the movie are just like the fight that he has with that like I forgot what the character was called, but the guy who it becomes extremely huge and he's like boxing him. Do you remember the scene that I'm talking about? Like I can't.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like that really is it the fat guy?
Yeah, when he's like fighting the like this just massively fat dude, and it's just like I'm just like, what on earth is going on? Like, what is it was just so off, and like the tone just shifted throughout the movie, and it almost didn't feel like a consistent storyline. They were just like throwing in different plots here and there, and eventually trying to tie it together as like I don't know how to put it, like a revenge story. But it
Yeah.
was just so bad altogether. Also, I'm looking it up right now. X-Men Origins Wolverine did better than yeah, it did better than Batman versus Superman on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh boy, haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen Batman versus Superman, or you haven't seen?
No, Batman versus Superman. I've seen enough of the Wolverine Origins one.
Yeah, yeah.
You have seen that one. I'm trying to think of which one I've seen. There's like Origins, and there's like the Wolverine, was it, or something?
The Wolverine is the one where he's in Japan for most of the movie, and it's like more along the lines of like the Silver Samurai route, which honestly huge step up from X-Men Origins Wolverine. The Wolverine was actually super interesting, and it was done by the same guy who did Logan.
Okay, so I did see Origins and all the way through. Okay, I just confused those two.
And yeah, the Wolverine was actually a pretty good movie. But like getting back to like movies of 2018, they do have an X-Men movie coming out as well. They have X-Men Dark Phoenix that's coming out later this year.
I did see that, but I've heard no previews or anything. Following Jean Grey, right, and her Phoenix Squad, is it? When I was reading
like not Phoenix Squad, but it's kind of like all of the inner power that she has, and they kind of tried to do that with like X-Men 3, where they kind of had her come back to life after, or not even come back, but like, yeah, she just came back as like this kind of evil character, and it didn't really make a lot of sense throughout the movie. But
yeah,
like Dark Phoenix is honestly a very interesting comic route. It shows that she's incredibly powerful, and just the growth of the character and things like that. Like, you know, it'll be an interesting thing to see. Like, I don't think that they're gonna go exactly what was in like exactly the route that was in the comics. So I just want to see what they'll kind of do with it, because it was one of my favorite scenes in Apocalypse was when they had like Jean Grey's like character kind of, you know, show off her power almost.
yeah, she was played by Sophie Turner, right? Jean Grey,
Sophie Turner, Sansa Stark from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and she's gonna continue that role in this new movie, I'm assuming.
I'm guessing so.
Have they announced the director yet?
I don't know if anyone's been attached to it or anything like that, because the movie's supposed to come out in 8 months, I'd say. We haven't seen any trailer, nothing like that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's suspicious. I was like, how is this possible?
Like, it's just oh yeah, it's directed by Simon Kinberg. Okay, so that's not bad at all. Like, Simon Kinberg's been attached to a lot of movies, and he's a pretty good writer as well. So that's, yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for that. But he's mainly like a producer and a writer. I think this is going to be his first directorial debut.
Well, I guess that's good. You know, I like the whole writer coming from, because he knows how to tell a story. So just the demonstrating it, which I guess we'll see how he ends up doing that. But I think I like the X-Men. I think like the original like trilogy was like okay, but it made them like in a mainstream to like available to mainstream audience.
Mm-hmm.
Logan was good. And then like Deadpool's kind of within X-Men realms was good as well. So we'll see how that goes. And now that Disney owns X-Men, we'll see if that has anything to do or affects the movie at all.
That's true. I mean, one of the main things I want to see Disney do is like, I'm fine with how Fox is kind of handling X-Men.
Yeah.
But like, I really want Disney to do something for Fantastic Four, because like in terms of just comics, there wouldn't be an Avengers if there was no Fantastic Four. Like, Fantastic Four was like, I think, the first ever team of superheroes put together in comics.
Yeah,
so,
it just had very little success as a film franchise.
Exactly. Like, the early movies have kind of, you know, they did pretty decent in terms of box office. Like, they had some big names attached to it. But it was also the mid 2000s, and like those movies have not aged well either. So like, it would be nice to kind of just see like some kind of I don't know, like something good done to like that franchise. So
yeah, definitely.
Apart from that, like, we'll just round up superhero movies quickly because there's a lot. But Aquaman's coming out also at the end of this year, or towards the end of this year. And I think Aquaman's going to be like a Christmas release.
Okay.
I've seen Nothing about it. Like I haven't seen any trailer or anything like that. The only thing I know is that it's being directed by James Wan, and I do like his movies. Like he did The Conjuring and he did Fast and Furious 7. So like his
That's
movies
quite a range of movies.
exactly, and that's the thing that I'm kind of excited about because like he was able to do this like small, really tiny like horror film, and Conjuring is by far one of like my favorite horror films of this decade. So
Yeah, I thought it was well done. I wasn't like in love with it, but I definitely liked the casting for it, and I found it pretty good. Fast and Furious 7, I liked more than I should have. Definitely more than 8, but I found it that was one with Ronda Rousey, right?
dude,
If I'm remembering correctly.
those movies are blended in my head. Like,
I think it was one I didn't see in theaters.
I don't think I've actually seen a Fast and Furious movie in theaters ever, if I'm going to be completely honest. But yeah, Fast and Furious 7 had Ronda Rousey. I think Fast and Furious 7 was the one where they went to like Abu Dhabi at a point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job with that. Like that was very entertaining. Like it's like the stupidity and like just the low brow, like whatever, like you very like just like simple movie, but very entertaining. I thought 8 was too much with the whole family this, family that thing to the point where it became annoying. But I thought 7 was actually a little bit more of an entertaining movie, even though it had similar like just like face palming gags and like just kind of very like stupid humor. But I thought overall I found it like enjoyable to watch for the most part. So I mean that's an interesting director for that. I hope it works out because I know DC has been definitely struggling with their most recent releases.
They also like it just came out today, but wait, before I go into the other story, James Wan also did Saw. So like the very first Saw. So he kind of did start a franchise in a way that survived till today. Survive is like a off word to put on it, but like it's just interesting. He did 2 horror movies and like one like balls to the wall like action movie. But they just announced it today. But Ava DuVernay, the person who did Selma and did like the new Wrinkle in Time movie,
Yeah, I know.
she's going to be doing a New Gods movie, which is also for DC. And New Gods is like we haven't seen a superhero movie like this. Like this entire thing deals with like cosmic entities that are like it's very much like a Greek myth, but with like a comic aspect to it, if that makes sense. Because we're talking about like godlike entities that are fighting amongst each other, but they're all like fictional gods from like the DC comics, and it's just if done right, this thing can be incredibly amazing. So I'm super excited about that. I don't know when this movie's going to come out or anything like that. It's just that since we were talking about DC movies, that's one of the things that's going to come out pretty soon, I'd say.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting concept, and I like Ava DuVernay as a director.
Yep.
But yeah, I've never even heard of the New God, so I just saw that recently on your Snapchat, so that should be something interesting to look forward to. But yeah, Aquaman I think is interesting. It's like a very like I feel like kind of random superhero, but it seems like I don't know. I didn't see Justice League, but he looks kind of badass in it. It's got like Khal Drogo from like Game of Thrones, so it should be interesting.
Like, I mean, I did watch Justice League, and I had my issues with it. Like, honestly, if I have to be completely honest, I like Batman versus Superman more than I like Justice League. And I know Justice League did a whole lot better in terms of like with critics and things like that, but I don't know. It had a lot of issues in my opinion. Like, and going through that movie, I just felt awkward at times. I'm like, this doesn't really make sense. Things are not tying in. Storylines are being left. It just seemed like there were 2 very different visions that were being tried to meld in, and it came off as awkward and like kind of clunky. But yeah, I'm like pretty excited about Aquaman because I would love for them to just I don't know the best way to put it, but like this is kind of a movie about like royalty dealing with like I guess like 2 different aspects, and it's what I wish a good Superman movie could have done. They kind of did try that with Man of Steel, and it worked to a certain extent. But like just dealing with like, am I from Atlantis? Am I from Earth? or not Earth, but like, am I from Atlantis or am I from land? And am I a king or do I look out for myself? Like, just dealing with like a personal problem in a way. That's I'm kind of excited if they go down that route and don't make it like an origin story, but make it something along the lines of like he's kind of trying to deal with like being a ruler of a place that maybe does not completely accept him because he's half human, something along those lines.
Yeah, it seems like that's what they're trying to go for. I mean, I'm just reading the synopsis on a Wikipedia, but it's saying like, Arthur Curry, the reluctant ruler, is caught between surface dwellers, his own people, who are ready to lash out and invade the surface. This is following Justice League, so I mean, I don't entirely know how that ended, but it seems like an interesting concept, kind of what you're alluding toward. So hopefully it goes that direction, because it sounds like it could be a pretty solid movie if it does.
Well, I think we've covered at least a significant amount of the superhero movies that are coming out, because I'm pretty sure we're still missing out on like Infinity War, and then there's like Ant-Man and the Wasp and things like that. But like those are things that are and Deadpool too. There's quite a lot of movies coming out. Also, your voice is a little muffled right now.
Okay, I'll
you're back
closer to my face. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's already kind of known. Like, I'm excited for Infinity War because like it's a culmination of 10 years of Marvel. I'm not super excited for Deadpool 2. Like it kind of felt fun the first time around, but like if they're not really going to bring him into the X-Men universe, but they kind of going to keep doing their own thing and bringing in Cable, like, I'm going to go watch it 100%, but like I don't have that same level of like excitement like I did for the first Deadpool. And
yeah, I can see that. Okay.
And the final superhero movie that's coming out is Ant-Man and the Wasp, and to be perfectly honest, like I have little to no like I guess hype for that movie. Like I'm gonna go watch it, the superhero movie, and it's like part of this Marvel universe that I've been watching for the last 10 years, but it's kind of just like I didn't even know this was a required movie. Like
yeah. No, I mean I definitely I saw the first one. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't blown away by it. I didn't think it warranted a sequel, but I mean I guess it was in Civil War, so I want to try to pursue that, at least one more movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it even did that great in the box office. Like it did a standard Marvel movie, but it wasn't one of their top grossing. It wasn't like a Black Panther where it's like, okay, he definitely needs a sequel. It's like it was pretty good. Like might as well throw him a sequel. Like I don't know. It didn't seem very super necessary.
Like for me, Ant-Man was the kind of movie that like if I go back in time and I had to decide whether I wanted to go see it in the cinema or just like wait until it came out on like, I don't know, DVD or Netflix or something like that, then I would probably wait, because I legitimately the movie didn't affect me or anything. Like I just came out of the movie and I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a pretty funny movie, but that's about all I felt for that movie.
Yeah.
Wait, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was going to ask you. We were talking about superhero movies a lot. Are there any other specific non-superhero movies that you're looking forward to?
There's
a specific one you're looking forward to most this
summer
or winter?
Okay, so one movie that I'm really, really looking forward to is The Irishman. It's like what's his name? Martin Scorsese's new movie.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
And like I'm always, I think the last movie that he had come out was Silence, and I was pretty like I really liked it. I think I watched it on like a flight, so I didn't get to like really enjoy the entire like cinematography of the film and everything like that. So I definitely missed out on like how beautiful the movie was, but the story was pretty interesting. The acting was extremely well done. So like, but I like it when he goes back to the kind of movies that he excels at, and those are mob movies, and especially a movie with like, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, and like they're bringing in Ray Romano. Like I don't know, I'm super excited about this. Like I love well done mob movies, or I love just like well done movies of like the 50s and things like that. And like Scorsese excels at those.
Definitely.
And like The Part is like in my top 20 movies of all time. So I am super excited for The Irishman. that's one. Then I'd say there's a Christian Bale movie that's coming out where he's going to be playing Dick Cheney.
Christian Bale's Dick Cheney. That's interesting.
Christian Bale's going to be playing Dick Cheney, where like he gained weight for the role, and he like kind of, I think he's like shaved his head and everything like that, and it's being directed by Adam McKay, who did The Big Short.
Adam McKay is that does little comedy movies, right? Like he did
both of the Anchorman movies.
Yeah, and Step Brothers and
Step Brothers and the other guys, but like The Big Short, he directed that movie, and I've watched that movie like, I don't know, 8 or 9 times already. And I'm excited because like he does a good job with funny movies. Like he makes them memorable and you obviously remember them. But he did an incredibly good job with The Big Short, and that was a serious matter. So like that's another movie that I'm super excited about because it's Adam McKay is directing the movie. Christian Bale is playing Dick Cheney. Amy Adams is playing Dick Cheney's wife. Steve Carell is also in the movie as Donald Rumsfeld. And then Sam Rockwell is playing George W. Bush. So
this is supposed to be like a comedy then, right?
I think so. I think it's going to try and become like a really darkish kind of noir comedy, maybe. Because I know it's going to be dealing with like serious matter. I don't think they're going to just try to make it like the death of Stalin, which I think it's out now. And we kind of looked at it while we were walking past the cinema today. But like that movie is a straight up comedy, whereas this is pretty different. I think it's going to go a dark comedy or like just a Big Short route. So these are 2 movies that I'm really excited about. And Bohemian Rhapsody. That's the movie on Freddie Mercury and Mr. Robot's star, Rami Malek. He's going to be playing Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So these are 3 movies that I'm really excited about. Like, at least in terms of like the big budget, more known movies. I'm also excited about like Mission Impossible that's coming out. I'm excited for the new Predator. I think they're rebooting it or something like that.
A third time? Well, second reboot, but...
Yes, like I don't know if it's a reboot or if it's like a futuristic tale of in the same, what do you call it, in the same universe, like they go back or whatever it is. But these are some things that I'm really looking forward to. What about you? Like, what in particular are you kind of super excited about?
Let's see. Well, I mean, we talked about Venom already. I'm excited. I like Tom Hardy. I think he's a good actor, and he's one of the few actors that can draw me into a movie. Sicario 2.
Oh,
be
shit.
pretty cool.
I completely forgot about Soldado. Yeah. That's another movie. That actually might top the list of the movies that I'm excited about.
Yeah, definitely an interesting movie. I love the first one. I thought it was really cool. It was like that whole what's it called? It was that whole like Apocalypse Now feel, that like building what was it, drama or whatever. It's like very slow paced, but it's very entertaining. Not even that slow paced, honestly.
It's actually, like I wouldn't classify it. I mean, it's not a lot always happens, but it's got you captured from like the start of the movie, and it doesn't let you go until the end of the movie. So like, it could be slow, but you never realize that it's slow.
Yeah. And then what is this? I'm looking at these movies coming out, and I'm seeing was it Super Troopers 2? Little excited for that. I mean, I know it probably won't be great, but it's just one of those like entertaining movies. It's more of just like I've seen the movie before and I enjoyed it, so it's cool they're bringing it back, but it's probably not going to be that great. Because I think it's one of those like crowd-funded movies, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. Like, I legitimately do not care about Super Troopers 2.
That's understandable, honestly, but it's just one of those things. I don't know. It's like you like it or you hate it. I don't think it needed a sequel. They did it for the fans, I guess. But yeah, like, just something.
I feel like Zoolander has experienced this, and like a couple of other movies have experienced this. But like movies that were extremely memorable when they came out won't, like, if you put a sequel to them, even if there is a fan base available to it, it's not necessary that it's going to do well because of that. Like that, the fan base might be there, but it's like it's not going to have the same impact as it did when it came out. or the kind of movie-going audience has different expectations. It looks at movies differently. It looks at comedy differently. Like right now, the biggest comedies that we saw in the last few years were movies like The Martian, which wasn't even really a comedy, but it had comedic elements to it.
Yeah.
Or The Big Short is an example of like a movie that took on a serious matter but had comedic elements to it. And these were the most memorable comedies. So like movies like, I don't know, like it would be like when they try to, the big example was Dumb and Dumber 2 and Zoolander 2. Both of those movies did terribly.
Yeah, and I heard they were pretty difficult to watch as well.
Yeah, that's what I felt as well. Like I'm sure, like maybe people that were huge fans of Zoolander still appreciated Zoolander 2 for the characters and things like that. But it's a different type of an audience. So like that's one of the main reasons why. I don't know. I feel like it might be like a little off, or it wouldn't have the same amount of effect.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm thinking about that. Like, I thought when they did Anchorman 2, that was pretty well done. Not like not funny as the first one, although honestly, I wasn't super obsessed with the first one like everyone else was.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think they did a decent job of making it a little different, because I know like Will Ferrell's in a bunch of recent movies, and I feel like his comedy is just not the same as it was then. Like, people aren't trying to see that as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like that staying power. And yeah, I definitely see what you mean. That the whole Super Troopers thing is the whole like this novelty of it is the funny part, but like, doing it again just probably would kill it. But it's one of those things you're just kind of curious to see, and they're releasing it on 420, so not that would really affect anything. But
I'm not surprised by that as much, because like I think it's trying to profit off of the fact that like it is kind of a stoner comedy in a way, so it's kind of like gonna work in those terms where they can market off the fact that the movie's releasing on 420. And so I think that's more of a marketing move than anything like that. And like, props to them on that. But like, I don't know, like 20 years down the line, whenever there's a movie that's, or 15, 10, whatever, like when it's released after a significant amount of time, I think that it's always a little too late, unless they try to change up the style of the movie in itself.
yeah, the first thing I think of is when they crowdfunded the sequel to it was a TV series, Blue Mountain State. They did the movie.
Yeah.
That movie is really bad. Like, I love the show, but like the movies wasn't nearly that funny. It tackled too many serious elements that were just not there in the show, because the show was so lighthearted that it became very just uncomfortable. It was just like they tried to push this like completely like ridiculous like lighthearted show like a little too far for like little to no reason. But another movie it's coming out next week. It's a Netflix exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Game Over Man, with the cast of Workaholics, directed by Kyle Newacek, who directed a lot of the episodes and appears as Carl in the show.
Okay.
Again, this is more of just not necessarily that I know it's a great movie, but more to like I love Workaholics. I like the type of humor they have, and Workaholics is only like a few years removed from being like an active TV show. So I don't think the humor will be dead. Like, they had their whole like, I mean, the show ran its course because like as most live action shows go, the actors just go on to their own projects. But it's interesting to see them all reunite again for a movie. Like, every now and then they have a few cameos, but I think it has potential to be some niche humor, some like interesting jokes, or funny like I guess catchphrases would be the word. Like, there's so many things that just came from Workaholics that people use infrequently now, but like were kind of like semi-popular things back then, kind of like these like cultural like catchphrases and all the pop culture references.
Okay. I mean, like, you obviously know a lot more about Workaholics than I do. I've watched maybe like 3 or 4 episodes. Like, it's never a show that I like really watched a lot, if I'm going to be completely honest. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I guess for me, it's going to be similar to like Pop Star, where I wasn't like I didn't watch a lot of stuff that Andy Samberg did, but like, kind of going off of the characters that they built off of their own comedy shows, they made other movies. So it might be something that I eventually end up liking a lot. It's just, I think, as of now, I have no idea about it. That's about it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because I mean, like Popstar, like I saw part of it, like 'cause Pat wanted to watch it one day, and I just find it entertaining. Like I mean, I was a big fan of Lonely Island in high school. I thought like what their whole comedy was like super funny. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's aged as well. I kind of don't think it has. It's it's I don't know. I thought it was like it's a little like immature, I guess, but also like obviously like middle school, high school level, but still like I think overall funny. Like I listen to On the Boat and still find it entertaining. And I think they had success with that. And then they had that sports movie that came out, I think it was last year, that
Yep.
cast Lonely Island. And I feel like that, I haven't seen that, but I heard it was like fairly entertaining. So, I mean, if this other movie could go that route, it'd be cool because it's very low pressure for them. They mean, particularly in this case, it's Netflix. There's like nothing to prove. There's no box office. It's kind of just like do what you do, like just keep the comedy like as it's been like that people find that you don't need to take unnecessary like dramatic risks or anything. It's just like a fun, lighthearted movie to just take it as it is.
I guess, yeah, yeah. I guess it's gonna be a combination of like I'd say probably people that watch Workaholics or and are fans of completely blanking on the guy's name. What's like the main actor's name from Workaholics? The
Adam Devine.
Adam Devine. Yeah, that's it. I was thinking Adam Levine, and I'm like, I know that's a different person.
That's definitely not the right person.
But yeah, yeah, Adam Devine and like I don't know, he's kind of in like other stuff as well because I know he was in a Modern Family for a bit, and then he's done like smaller movies.
He's done Pitch Perfect.
He's in Pitch Perfect as well. Yeah, yeah. I remember. Like, I never really got into that series of movies. I know that they've already had 3 come out, or a third one's coming out.
Yeah, third one came out I think end of last year. Have not seen it yet.
So like, I've never, I don't know, I never really got into it, so I never really watched it that much or anything like that. But like, I know him from other movies, definitely. Like, I know him from, uh, let's see. Okay, I think I might just know him from Modern Family and The Intern. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean that's all you need, I think. I mean he's like not like a super memorable character outside of I guess the Workaholics universe
Yeah.
because I guess and then I guess you don't watch Pitch Perfect or are not as big of a fan, but like he's definitely like one of the bigger characters in that as well. I don't know if he's in the third one, but he's definitely like a second tier major character in the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Like not like the guy they focus on, but definitely has his like fair share of big plot points.
Yeah.
But moving back to other movies, are there any particular movies that you are not looking forward to seeing, or you like, well, not you just maybe you won't see at all because they're just not appealing to you? I'm sure there's plenty of them.
Okay, so like movies that I probably won't see in the cinema, but I might end up watching it just because I'm kind of curious about it. It's Best Friends. It's like Tommy Wiseau's new movie,
Oh, I did hear about that one. Yeah,
and he's kind of releasing it in 2 different volumes, from what I know. I think he's releasing one at the end of March, and then he's releasing the second volume in June. And like, I don't like. Honestly, I hate The Room. Like, I genuinely like it hurts me to watch the movie and things like that. But like, uh, I don't know. I'm not excited, but like I'm kind of intrigued by the movie in itself because I did watch the trailer and it's very different from what The Room was and things like that. So like, I don't know. You can probably talk about this a little bit more. Wait, I don't know. Do you like The Room? Like, do you watch it a lot, or are you one of the people
yeah.
that kind of like goes on that like the yearly uh well, like I don't know. Some people have this tradition of watching The Room once a year or going to go for the like screening once a year. So, do you actually like do one of those things or anything like that?
Well, I personally haven't. I know Cena went once and I actually did meet Tommy Wiseau because he was there. It's really cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I'm a big fan of it. I've only shown several people The Room. Like I've seen it. Well, I think I've seen it like maybe once last year, but I've just seen it like several times at this point. I mean, I know it's terrible, but I think it's one of those movies that just it's so bad it's so good. Like I saw Troll 2, and honestly, I did not find it as entertaining as The Room. The Room is just like so bad, like just entertainingly bad throughout. Because it's one thing to be bad, but it's one thing to be like funny bad. Like where just like such poorly written lines, and that it's like just comical. Like it's like you really think like Like I thought the best review of it was like basically alien dropped on Earth and had a week to gather what normal people act like, and this is the movie they came up with, which I think is the best like interpretation of that. Because I'm like literally like no one talks like this, no one dresses like this. Hilarious, but yeah, I heard about the best friends thing was like almost in the way like a redemption for Wiseau and Sestero because they want to show they're not like just laughing stocks.
Like,
I know James Franco touched on it. I don't know if he was just being nice or whatever, but he's saying that like basically Wiseau had one shot. He made this movie and everyone just laughed at him and called him a failure. Basically, he didn't have another chance to redeem himself. Like he's tried other projects, but I don't know if he's really worth redeeming. Like he's done like the Tommy Wee show, and I know he had some other like sitcom he was showing at the one showing that our friend Cena went to.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't think like he's really like a very talented like auteur. I think he's just kind of just got lucky. Well, not even lucky. It's like almost like unlucky in a way, like infamous over such a like low quality movie. Like the only reason people like it is because it's so bad, and that's funny because he wanted to be serious if you couldn't tell, which is very difficult from how terrible it is. But I mean, I definitely would be curious to see this new movie. I mean, it seems like they want to take this a little more seriously and produce an actual movie. But I mean, if we're still dealing with Tommy Wiseau's emotionless acting and just I guess everything else he did, which was terribly done, then I don't know what to expect. I mean, I don't think it'll be like a classic like The Room, but I just don't want to see a movie where it's like it's bad, but he's trying, so it's not like entertaining. Like I don't think he's gonna make like a good bad movie like The Room, depending on how you feel about that type of genre. So
like you think he's actually trying to like in a way redeem himself or something like that? Like he's trying to produce like a slightly more emotional, but like a real film, and not like try to do what he kind of did with Room, more along the lines of maybe like what Disaster Artist portrayed them as.
Yeah, because I knew before this movie that James Franco made came out, he was trying to basically hold back another guy from releasing a documentary that was a little more scathing, as opposed to this trying to be more honest and a little more in support of Tommy Wiseau. But he was just trying to make sure this other documentary never got made. He did not talk about The Room as a failure, and he like refused to acknowledge that like people thought it was bad in a way. He just kind of played it off that he tried to do it. He didn't want to be like blamed. So I think he wants to redeem himself, but I don't know if like he will be able to. It's just like some people have it, some people don't. Like I think everyone like has a vision, but it's like as a director, but it's really how well you can portray it that proves it. Like there's reasons why like Scorsese or like act like directors like that, or like Tarantino, they have very clear visions and they're able to like execute them to perfection. Like they have their own like unique styles and they do them well. And like and another key is that you could go outside of your comfort zone. Like you could do a mob movie, you could do like a psycho thriller, and they'll both be great movies. It's tough, and I don't think that Tommy Wiseau's an elite director, and I don't think he was directing the wrong genre or if he was acting the wrong genre. I just think like it's nice. Like I support him as a artist. I think a passion project for him and Greg Sestero, but I just don't see it as like maybe like out of like morbid curiosity. Like when I watch the Emoji Movie, it's like I'd watch it, but I'm not super excited. I wouldn't go out of my way to see it unless it was like maybe Tommy Wiseau was there or something, or like I had a bunch of friends that are like getting hyped up about it. But it's not something like, I want to see that right now. Like I see what you mean.
For me, that was like an incredibly well said thing that you just said, and I'm completely gonna shit all over it by like just having a very small response back to it. But for me, it's literally just like, this seems interesting. I want to look at it. Like that's literally my reaction to it, and like I think there's obviously like how Wiseau's like a very interesting person, and like there's like this entire the best way to put it is like either a mythology or lore put together behind that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I would have absolutely not, like I wouldn't have given a shit about this movie had it not been for disaster artists.
Yeah, exactly. I think this really put him back in the main stage. Like, it made me show the movie, like The Room, again to my friend, because it's like, oh, this movie's coming out. Like, what's it about? Like, I've never seen The Room, so it's like, okay, now I got to show you The Room.
Yep.
So, yeah, I get what you mean.
Okay, one movie that, like, since we're talking about movies that, like, I would not be excited for, I genuinely don't care about the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World sequel. Like, I've watched the trailer a few times. I've kind of like read at what the story might be and things like that, and I have absolutely no interest in it. It just seems bad for, like, I don't know, like the trailer was just not interesting. I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I don't fucking care at all.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I heard similar things about Jurassic World. Everyone's saying how shitty it was, but I found myself like genuinely entertained by it. I always liked the whole original story of Jurassic Park. I thought it was pretty well done and very entertaining, like, idea for the original.
Yeah.
But no, you definitely see why, because like the trailers don't make it seem super exciting. And I mean, the Jurassic World was kind of met with like mixed results. I mean, I'm not super excited, but I definitely think I wouldn't say I'm like not at all. Yeah, I'd like to see how it does, like, critically, before I'd see it. But I don't think I'd probably go on the way to pay for it.
For me, like, after watching the trailer and things like that, it literally just seems like a disaster movie with like an element of, hey, we have dinosaurs and we have this like lore attached to Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Like, but at the end of it, it just seems like an extinction movie, and I don't know. I've absolutely, like, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any real character to it or anything like that, and it doesn't even seem like, I don't know, like Jurassic Park obviously stood out because A, it was a really good movie, but B, it just filled you with the sense of wonder, and that sense of wonder wasn't there in Jurassic World, but it was still a fun film altogether. This almost seems like they're just going a pure action route for it, and that's one of the reasons why I have absolutely no real interest in the film in itself, because the sense of wonder is gone that was attached to it, and now the sense of fun is gone, and it seems like they're just trying to, like, I don't know, like, just trying to profit off of just bad storytelling, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely, I think, are hitting it right in the head that, the whole, it's like a Steven Spielberg movie, the whole wonder and like the horror and the, excitement, like all these like different emotions mixed together was what made the original so great. Yeah, and I think even like with the sequels, like 2 and 3, I still thought were entertaining. Like this whole like that we fucked up, we had to go back, but check this out. There was like that greed element to it, and like being pushed back into this world that, like, shouldn't have been brought back, possibly, the whole thing where they're all like, oh, we shouldn't have brought them back or whatever.
But just the element of like, corporate, like, kind of like, they kind of started to talk about like corporate greed and things like that, and going off of, I guess they were trying to like possibly, I don't even know if this is right, and I'm kind of just speculating, but they were maybe trying to tie in aspects of like, polluting the air and climate change, because it's a cheaper aspect to just keep doing what you're doing, as opposed to maybe make the change over to green energy, and kind of like dealing with that aspect of corporate greed and tying it into a more dangerous aspect of like bringing back dinosaurs, even though they were dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the original was like a whole thing, like shitting on science, or it's like, oh, the scientists asked if they could, but that they like should, but not if they could, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and that was kind of funny. I saw it in a meme somewhere, but like the most recent one, yeah, it's definitely like I know the old ones, there was definitely some element, but I feel like they were like very upfront about the corporate greed. The guys like, oh, it's our big money maker here, this giant murderous T-Rex that manages to escape, and like it's a whole park, and like the whole I feel like the running thing about the movie like world is like, oh, that dinosaurs aren't cool, they're in a fucking, like, they're in an amusement park. It's like, I don't know, that was kind of weird. And then like that whole like the story with the kids in there for the world, I really thought was kind of random.
Yeah, it was kind of pointless, but like I guess it was like to stop it from becoming a movie about just dinosaurs, there was an added human element to it. I think that was just what they kind of tried to do. But like I thought the movie was fun. Like I don't regret paying the money that I paid to go watch it in a cinema. But there's definitely no sense of wonder that was there in Jurassic Park, or like the emotion attached to Jurassic Park was not there. That wasn't that just didn't exist in Jurassic World.
Yeah, I
And
think you're
then,
definitely putting that right. Yeah.
and then like I literally can't give a shit about the new movie because it genuinely seems similar to what the new King Kong movie was kind of like. And
Skull Island.
Skull Island, yeah, that's it. And honestly, didn't enjoy that movie at all. I'm a huge fan of the massive monster films in general. Like I love the entire lore kind of surrounding like King Kong or Godzilla and like just like these kind of like over the top, but they kind of have that aspect of representing something.
Yeah.
Monster movies, but literally watching Skull Island, it literally just seemed like, all right, these guys are trying to make, they're kind of trying to make like a human element to a movie about monsters, and it's like, let it be what it needs to be. Like you can see that you can remove the human element from Planet of the Apes movies, and they did that, and they were so good by just focusing on animals, and it's workable. So I don't know, like this is going way off track, but at the end of it, I'm just not excited about the Jurassic World sequel. That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay. Yeah. The more the conversation goes on, the more I'm like, you're making points. I don't know if I want to see it anymore, but yeah, definitely with those monster movies, agreed. I'll tell you some movies I'm not excited for is anything with The Rock in it, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like as every preview, this looks so like just so bad. It's basically like we'll just throw a bunch of money at The Rock and like the movie will do well because he's in it. And
Yeah.
I really hate movies like that, and like they are successful, which makes you like just even more disappointed.
Rampage and Skyscraper, those are the two movies.
Yeah, those are literally two movies I was thinking of. They're just like Skyscraper. It's just like a generic action movie with it, except he has one leg. And the other one is like King Kong, but he's like slightly smaller.
Rampage just looks so stupid. Yeah.
I'm just like, who writes this? Like, why? Like, I don't know. It's like it's free money, but it's just like it really just like degrades the whole art of like the movies, in my opinion. Like, I feel bad for someone paying for that unless it's like somehow like critically lauded. Like, I could not see that happening because I don't think he's like a terrible actor, but I just don't think he's like gonna, not just because you don't win like an Oscar doesn't mean you're not a good actor, but like I just don't see him like making this movie like go up and above. It's basically like we have a mediocre movie, let's throw a big name actor in, that'll sell it, and that's it.
No, I think that's kind of what I don't know. Like it almost seems like Dwayne Johnson is definitely a big name. He gets in a lot of money, and it's a smart business decision to put him into movies. So that's what it kind of seems like they're doing is like they're just trying all these random scripts. They keep throwing it at him, and like after denying probably like hundreds of them, he picks these particular things that seem somewhat interesting, but they look so bad. And they like, I was like watching the trailer for Rampage, and what the fuck is this? This is like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so bad, and apparently it's based off a game, which, like, I don't know. I've just absolutely no interest in this thing at all.
Damn, yeah. Usually based off a game is not what you want to hear for a movie.
Exactly. Like, like speaking of, well, since we're talking about video game movies, like, movies that like are based off of legitimate like cinematic video games do bad, like Assassin's Creed does bad and things like that. And then we know what they tried to do with like old school video games, like arcade games, and the byproduct of that was Pixels, which is a shit show.
Well, yeah.
And like since we're gonna go off of that, the other movie that I'm not excited for, which I think is releasing this weekend, Tomb Raider. I'm just I'm just like really, I don't really care about that. I've played the game and I love the game. Like I love the new Tomb Raider series, but it's like it doesn't seem like they're trying to add any new element to it. So it's just like, why would I go pay money to watch a movie when what I'm going to get is a lesser product of what I can already get from a game, and I get to be in that game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because when I think of the original one, like I'm not sure how it did. I'm sure critically it did horribly, and probably commercially it probably did decent. But it had Angelina Jolie, like a huge actress at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then this one, it's a more unheard of actress. I forgot what she was in.
I mean, she was in what do you call it? She was in like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Then she won. I think she won an Oscar for The Danish Girl, and then she was also in Ex Machina. So she's had these massive
Yeah, that
hits.
was the one. Yeah.
She's had these massive hits, and like I guess that's why it made sense. It's like it always tends to happen where like there's certain people that do these like more dramatic movies, they get massive hits, and then they get offered like this big name either superhero or big name hero in general. And I think that's kind of what happened with her as well, where she did like the Danish Girl, she did Ex Machina, she did like Light Between the Oceans, and I think she was also in Jason Bourne. And then like because she was doing so well, they're just like, we need a new Tomb Raider movie. This person seems perfect.
Yeah, I mean, again, those like when I'm thinking like like the Rocks movies where it's like these are okay ideas. We need just a big actor to put them over. Like I think that'd be more the approach with Tomb Raider, although they might feel Tomb Raider's a bit of a stronger brand as opposed to these like one-off movies.
Mm-hmm.
They have The Rock doing. They're kind of like unknown names. Like I feel like Tomb Raider's around for a while. It's like Lara Croft is this like sex symbol to many people. Like the original Tomb Raider had this like it's like Catwoman where it's like they weren't good movies, but they had like big lead actresses that are like sex symbols and are still attractive right now. So it's like they have that staying power. But it's it's kind of like like she's like a great actress. Like I liked Ex Machina. She did a great job. I almost forgot she was in that. I remember I looked that up because I was like, who is this chick? Because like she seems familiar, but it just seems kind of like an odd movie to reboot. And yeah, I don't know how much more they're planning on adding to this. It seems more of just like a it's an action movie to watch with a female like leading it.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. All right. We've shit on movies quite a bit. Do we want to just round it off with like 10 movies that I don't know, the top 10 movies of 2018 that we're most excited for, or something along those lines?
Yeah, we can do that.
It doesn't have to be in an order. Just 10 movies that like it doesn't have to be like 1 to 10 or 10 to 1 or anything like that. Just like pick 10 movies that, or like 5 movies that like you're just extremely excited to see.
Yeah. Okay. That works.
So like I kind of have my list ready, and I can go while I guess you prepared the list because I know I just threw this on you.
Yeah. Now I need to go over all the movies coming out. I could do like at least 5 off my head probably, but yeah. Go ahead. You start.
Okay, so one of the ones I'm excited about, since you brought it up, even though I'd completely forgotten about it, Sicario 2. I'm super excited about Soldado. I'm super excited about Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm kind of actually pretty excited about the Mary Poppins movie that's coming out, because it's one of the only Broadway shows that I've actually seen, and I'm a fan of Emily Blunt. Like, I love her in like a significant amount of movies. So
yeah.
I'm excited about that. And then going off of Emily, like just the actress itself, I'm also super excited for her like joint project with John Krasinski. I think the Quiet Ones is that what it's called? That's another movie that. Oh no, nope, it's not the Quiet One. What was it called? Like the Quiet.
Hold on.
Completely blanking on the name for this movie.
A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place. That's it. That's the. Mostly right now, that might be towards the top of my list of movies that I'm excited about, along with Soldado, and I'm excited about Mission Impossible Fallout. Like, I just think it's really cool that I don't know, for me, like the Mission Impossible have gotten better and better as they've increased in their number, I guess. Like Mission Impossible 2 for me was the only movie that was a step down. And then Mission Impossible 3 was better than Mission Impossible 2, 4 was better than 3, 5 was better than, and then like so on and so forth. So like this is the 6th Mission Impossible movie, and they like, I don't know what Henry Cavill's role is exactly, whether he's like the villain or the anti-hero, what exactly, but I just love the aspect that we're going to have like Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill kind of playing off of each other. So that's something that I'm super excited about. A movie that we haven't touched on at all, Mowgli. It's Andy Serkis is directing the movie, and I think that it's going to have a lot of what's the term for it? Motion capture, where like all of the other characters are going to be done by motion capture. That's the movie that I'm also super excited about. Like that's something I really want to see like a trailer on or that, but that's something like I don't know. I'm fascinated by, and the fact that it's all going to be done in motion capture. What's up?
That literally the Jungle Book? I'm like reading the synopsis. It's like, and Mowgli was the character in the Jungle Book, right?
Yeah. Mowgli is just the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book movie already came out. What do you call it? 2 years back with John
Yeah.
Favreau, and then
I enjoyed it.
and then Andy Serkis is doing it, but he's kind of going a more darker route from it. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Like, I'm just a huge fan of Andy Serkis. Like, anytime he's done anything motion capture related, or anytime he's been kind of involved in filmmaking, it's always ended up being a pretty good product, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is like, that's one of the reasons why I'm pretty excited about it. I guess I'm not really that, like, I'm gonna go watch Dark Phoenix and movies like that, but you might really like this movie. But Mom and Dad, that's a movie that I'm also I think it's already come out, but it's the kind of movie where I feel like it would be great for like a late night movie where it's Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair.
Okay, all you need to say is Nicolas Cage, but
Yeah, and it's like,
I'll
it's
look into
basically
that.
like the parents go crazy, and then the parents are played by, like, the dad's Nicolas Cage and the mom's Selma Blair, and the kids have to survive for 24 hours while their parents have gone insane and they're trying to kill them.
Sounds interesting.
So like,
Nicolas Cage would be the right guy to play that, though, for sure.
exactly. That's exactly the thought that I had, and that's what I'm like, I really want to watch the movie just because of that. And
Fair point.
Incredibles 2, Solo, a Star Wars movie. I'm honestly, I'm gonna go watch Solo purely because it's a Star Wars movie, and there's nothing really holding me to it. Like, I would have much rather seen an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie.
Yeah, I think everyone that watches Star Wars would agree with you. He's a far more interesting character.
Exactly. Like, and I don't know. Apart from that, I talked about Bohemian Rhapsody, Wreck-It Ralph 2. That I love the first movie. Like, Wreck-It Ralph was one of my favorite movies the year that it released. So I'm incredibly excited for the second one. And two final movies. Like, I'm kind of just glossing over superhero movies because I know I'm going to be excited about them and I'm going to go watch them. But like, other movies that like I might want to, just kind of talk about. That leaves out the Borg versus McEnroe. It's about two tennis players, and it's got Shia LaBeouf in it. And that's one movie that I'm really excited about. It seems like a character-driven piece, and it's kind of got this feeling similar to the movie Rush. And I was like amazed by Rush when it came out in 2013. So that's one movie, and then to finish off the list, Creed 2 is also coming out. So like, I guess I can kind of add that, but like, I don't know, Incredibles 2 maybe. Oh yeah, RBG. That's a movie that I'm excited about. It's a documentary movie about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and it's the one that like I don't really know a lot about her. Like, I know who she is and I know what she's done and things like that, but like, there's these certain documentary movies that come out that end up being like incredibly interesting about a person's life. And so like, RBG is the other movie that I'm excited about.
Okay.
So I talked about a lot of movies, but like, yeah, go ahead. Like, if you had to go 5 or 7 or 10 you really want to go watch.
Yeah, I think I'll do 5. There's a lot, and I don't know if I'm super excited about all of them, but I'll try to do as many as I can, at least 5. We already talked about Venom already. I like Tom Hardy and anything he's attached to. I thought his passion project Taboo was not incredible, but it was entertaining. It was like a miniseries on Netflix, but he was like one of the. I think him and his dad worked on it, so it was interesting to see like how he worked it. Kind of a weird, gritty period miniseries thing. It was interesting. He's an interesting actor. I think he's pretty good. I mean, I thought he was definitely better than DiCaprio in The Revenant, but I mean, it's whatever. What else was Creed 2? You mentioned that. I was looking at that. I'm excited for that as well because I thought the first one was awesome. I think that was my first what's the director's name? Ryan Coogler movie that I've seen, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed, Michael B. Jordan's a great actor. Him and I don't even remember the female actress's name, but they had a great chemistry.
Tessa Thompson, yeah.
Miss Thompson. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were really good together, and it was a good chemistry. It's a very entertaining movie. Sylvester Stallone was also good. I mean, he was an
Also,
absolute Sylvester Stallone.
no, all three of them are also now officially like Marvel characters because Stallone was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Michael B. Jordan was Killmonger, and then Tessa Thompson was a Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Oh, I still haven't seen Ragnarok yet, but yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's nice to see them get further exposure. What else? Oh man, let's go through all these movies.
I like how you attached. You're just like nice to see Sylvester Stallone get further exposure, and it's just like, like as like one of the most well-known people in the movie industry.
Yeah, but he's someone I feel like that recently has had not as much success.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think he's getting more like he not director, but I feel like he's getting more like input in the movies. Like when I think of him, I think of just like some like one-liner, jacked like the hero guy that just shoots everything up. But I mean, I feel like he had more of an emotional side to him in this in Creed, at least the first one.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim Uprising didn't really talk about, but I really did like the first one. I'm not sure if the novelty will carry over to the second one, but I thought it was a cool, like, entertaining beat 'em up robot movie that knew what it was and didn't try too hard, and it had a great cast. The first one, I don't like the cast under this one, but I mean, I think it'll still be good. Like
I think I talked to you about this, but for me, I am a huge fan of the first Pacific Rim movie, but the big thing that I feel is missing from Pacific Rim 2 is it seems more Transformers-like, and like it's going to be a really stupid thing to point this out, but in the first Pacific Rim movie, you could actually feel the weight of the robots, like the weight of the Jaegers, I guess, and like the damage that they did, and they moved slowly because there were these like 1,500 tons of steel, like almost a million like pounds of steel that's like kind of going down the road. So like I don't know, like it just you could kind of see that impact, and I'm not seeing that. It almost seems like they're plastic robots in the second Pacific Rim movie. I'm still gonna go watch it, but like it's one of the things that kind of like ticked me off while watching the trailer was just seeing these like Jaegers like fly around like they're toys.
Yeah, I could see that. We're just kind of like almost like slightly realistic in the original, but I mean, yeah, it should hopefully it'll still be just as entertaining. I mean, I wasn't originally excited for it, but I know you talked about a Quiet Place.
Yeah.
I feel like the actor, what was his name, John Krasinski. I haven't really seen much of what he's done, but I know he had that Michael Bay movie 13 Hours. He has that Jack Reacher project on Amazon. It's never been anything that particularly drawn me to it. I mean, Emily Blunt's been solid. Like, she was great in Sicario, and she's been in a few other things that I've seen. I mean, I don't remember specifically but I've just seen her in a lot of stuff recently that have been pretty good. So, I mean, I'm always down for horror movies, and I've heard critical reviews about it, and that's always nice, particularly because horror movies now are either really just very stupid, like found footage, like just very little effort, or they're like, smart and like play with the tropes. Like there'll be a standard horror movie, but it will tackle the genre so well, like with John Wick, where it was like taking the action genre but executing it so well. It's like, yes, all shoot 'em up movies and done, but it's been being done so efficiently and so well that it's paying homage to the old ones, but making its own lane.
No, like that's one of the things that sold me was this wasn't a jump scare movie, or like it doesn't seem like one of those kind of movies, but it's like more about like almost like in a way, if you put like a horror twist to Fallout, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it seems like as the more trailers get released. And then I guess I'm just gonna stick with 5. The Wreck-It Ralph 2. I mean, that was the first one I really, really enjoyed. I know you said you enjoyed it a lot too. I know a bunch of people I've talked to really did like it. I thought it had a great story to it, and I thought it was very, a very well done movie. It was a little emotional at some points, and I'm interested to see how they do the sequel. It is a Pixar movie, right?
It is a Pixar movie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I know like.
Wait, no. Wait.
Or is it just
Oh shit! Is it DreamWorks? Is it Pixar? I can't. Or oh, dude, I'm completely blanking on whether it's a Pixar movie or not. I think it might just be like a Disney movie.
yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, it's just a Disney movie. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Well,
not
yeah.
Pixar or anything like that. Even though like Pixar, but like yeah, it's a straight up like Disney animation movie.
Yeah, because I was gonna say about like Pixar usually doesn't do as many sequel movies. I know Toy Story was a one like incredible exception, and Cars is I've heard not as good, but yeah, I still did a sequel, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. And I don't think it should be too bad if it keeps to. I mean, I don't know exactly. I haven't even seen the trailer yet, but it's just like some of those things where I don't think it needed a sequel, but it was very good the first time around. So I'd be interested to see it go one more time, and hope it's just as good as the last time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think that kind of like rounds up this year in film. We like covered a lot of movies from a ton of superhero movies that are coming out.
Yeah, definitely want to see more trailers of things like that X-Men movie before, because that could definitely be on the list as well, or some other movies coming out. There's definitely a few that have been announced that just don't have, like Aquaman, that don't have enough out yet.
Exactly, yeah. Like I could honestly, if I get a similar feeling from like Aquaman to the kind of story that I want from the movie in itself, then yeah, it's definitely gonna crack my list. It's a DC comic character, so like at the end of it, like I'm just partial to this, to DC Comics in itself. So as of now, I'm basically just waiting to see like what kind of a trailer they release, because it is coming out pretty soon. It's coming out at the end of the year, but like that's only 9 months away, so they should have like a teaser trailer come out by the end of this month.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's it for us. Like I think we have like an hour and 10-minute long podcast, or an hour and 10-minute long episode. So that's all I have to say. Do you have anything else to add?
I think we covered everything for now. Covered a lot.
Well, hope everyone enjoys this episode. It's 10:45 now by the time we finish recording this. So yeah, that's about it. See you guys.
Earl.